Oh, God, it's so cold.
It's so cold in here. And I walk outside in a freaking hoodie, and everyone's like, dude, I'm in shorts and t-shirts. What are you doing?
I wear like sweats and jackets to work. It's so cold in here. I've actually all day have been thinking about this blanket I have in my closet that I want to bring to keep in the studio.
It's so stupid in here. It's so cold. All right, the Strawberry and Lizette Mexican Ginger podcast, uncensored, not intended for younger audiences. And shout out to everybody who's subscribed to the audio podcast and checking out the YouTube podcast as well. I made a list of stuff that I've been like keeping track of to bring up on the podcast.
That's a long list.
Well, it's all the stories also, so I have the facts. And I'm like, you know what? These are all pretty dark. So I don't know if I'm gonna get through all these. And since they're kind of dark, let's start with a non-dark story.
What do you mean dark?
It's dark. There's some death and some criminals and some body
parts. Is it like
parts.
Halloween stuff?
No.
Oh.
But it'll fit with a Halloween theme, but it's not Halloween intended. I just like found a bunch of stories over the last couple of days, and I'm like, I'll bring these up on the podcast. And then I'm putting them in a list. I'm like, ooh, they're all kind of dark.
Okay.
But a non-dark story. I'm emceeing my first wedding ever this Saturday.
Oh, Patrick's hit you up?
Yeah.
He hit me up first.
Yeah, that's fine.
I turned him down.
I've
never. Okay, so you have to tell me, because I told him I couldn't, because this weekend is my nephew's birthday party, which I don't even know if I can make it down there because I don't have a car. But that hasn't been figured out yet.
Got it.
But yeah, I told him I couldn't go because I have the birthday party.
Sure.
But then also I'm like, I've never emceed a wedding before.
I've never emceed a wedding either.
I would have been super nervous. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know. You like that the MC is what keeps the wedding going, and I wouldn't call them events. What would you call them? Like the
all the different you have to do
like
recognitions.
The schedule.
Yeah,
like you keep the schedule going, you keep the wedding moving, and I'm just like, I've on top of never emceeing a wedding before, I've only been to like one wedding as an adult in my life. So
really,
yeah,
okay,
it was my cousin's wedding like 5 years ago, and then I think I've been to like 2 more weddings before that, but I was little. So I'm like, I don't even know how these things work anyway. So
there's an order. There's a very specific order.
Yeah, I know.
So I've been to a ton of weddings. I've been best man at a wedding. I've been the what's the not ambassador. What's the
Holy
guy?
Spirit?
No, I've been the guy that does the wedding. The what's the guy that does the wedding? Like, who says, "Hey, do you take so and so? Do you take?"
I know. I'm waiting for you to think of
You're
it.
such a jerk. Or
it's like
ornated?
the efficient or
efficient. I've been efficient. Yeah. So I've been best man. I've been efficient. I've been
ordained.
I've been in the bridal party, and on top of that, I think I even DJ'd a wedding before. Never MC'd.
You're not a DJ.
Back in the day, I used to do mobile DJing for a company. But
what?
Yeah.
What?
Long time ago.
This is news to me.
Yeah, but I've never emceed. So I hit the guy back, and he goes, "Hey, it's this Saturday in Galt." And I'm like, well, it's actually a weekend I'm in town, although Sunday I'm flying to LA. But I'm like, I could do it, but I've never emceed a wedding before. I emceed a million other things, never a wedding. And I'm like, if you can get me to run a show, like if you tell me like when to introduce the bride and do the father-daughter dance or whatever, like, sure, I'll be able to rock the mic. Like, yeah. And so we played phone tag a little bit. He gave me all the info, like, this is what you do, and I'll just tell you like when to say stuff. And when the reception starts and I start DJing the party, you can take off. I can like jump in between the songs and do the hosting. I just need you to like you were saying, Lizette, run down the schedule and introduce certain people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm doing my first wedding.
Yeah, my sister does them all the time.
That's what I figured. And with Patrick's, right?
Yeah.
So she's just not able to do it this weekend.
She does them all the time. I guess she can't this weekend because it's my nephew's, it's her kid's birthday party.
Oh, yeah, she can't make it then.
And
not me stealing her job.
Not you taking my leftovers. But yeah, I would have just been so nervous anyways, because like half of me is like, if my sister can do it, I can do it. The other half of me is like, I just don't do well in front of people, especially by myself. Like, you know, you've known me long enough to know I refuse to go out on stage by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, I get it. I do this all the time.
Only because I don't know how to stall.
Oh, I'm great at stalling.
I'm not me.
I'm great at stalling.
I'm not good at it. I tense up. I don't know what to say. Like the people in the movies that choke when the spotlight is on them and they're like, that's me.
That's you. So I gotta have a couple jokes handy. You did a little stand up that one day you introduced that screening, the movie screening?
The movie screening, yeah. I don't remember what I said, though.
I don't know either. It was funny. But, yeah, so I get to wear a suit. Like, I love wearing suits. I got a couple suits in the closet
and then
ready
I was
to go.
thinking of that, too. Like, I don't even have wedding host outfits.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole nother level of job to take on. Like, I have to go shopping. I have to buy nice clothes to wear.
Yeah.
Like, we had a big meeting yesterday, and you texted me, and you were like, don't dress like a hood rat. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course not. I never dress like that in front of clients. I was going through my closet for 15 minutes. Like, I have nothing. All I have is 12-year-old boy clothes.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, Vegas club dresses. Like, I
Nothing
don't have anything in between.
What do you call it? Business casual?
Yeah, I don't have any business casual. It's just like jeans, leggings, sweats, and then like tank tops that show titties and graphic t-shirts.
Yeah. You can't wear those
That's
at the
what
wedding.
I have.
That's why Patrick's called me instead of you.
No, he called you because he called me first, actually.
Did he call you or DM you?
He DM'd me first.
Okay, pull out your DM. Let's see if it was the same. Because when you go Galt, where's Galt? And I'm like, oh, that's why is she thinking about Galt? And then when I see his DM, he's asking me about emceeing a wedding in Galt. I'm like, oh, well, obviously Patrick's asked Lizette to do it.
Yeah. Okay, let me pull up my DM.
All right.
Let's see who he messaged
It's completely
first.
fine if he just casted a wide net, like whoever reaches back to me first, the MC.
I feel like he just messaged me first because he figured, oh, Selena's sister.
Sure.
Like, she'll be down.
And what time did he message you, Selena's sister?
It was...
So whoever's getting married this Saturday at the winery in Galt, I'll be your MC.
He messaged me Friday at 2:41 p.m.
Oh. You mean not 12:38 p.m., 2 hours before
Shut
you?
up! Let me see.
I guess I just took too long.
Shit.
I took too long to reply. Got nervous.
Okay, Patrick's, I see. You know what? Fuck you.
Wow. So I was the first pick. All right,
I'm
then.
just kidding.
Okay, that's going to be fun.
But at least now, this is good for him because he hit me up and was like, I have gigs out there often, but a lot of people I work with are down here and it's far from them.
Yeah.
Like, at least I know you're down
Sure.
For stuff in the future. And I'm like, yeah, for sure. And now he has two people out here.
Now he's got me. Okay, so have you ever been in a limousine? Let me start there.
Yes.
Really? Okay.
What do you mean? Why is that surprising?
I'm surprised.
Selena's has limos.
Does it?
Yes.
Not a guy with a Cadillac, like a real limo.
Actually, my first limo was a Hummer limo.
Okay.
I'll have you know.
Did you jump out of the? Did you like stand out of the sunroof like whoa?
No. It was winter ball. Like I wasn't gonna mess up my hair.
Oh, because when you do that, they yell at you. The driver's like, "Get in the window. You can't be out of the sunroof. Get down. Get down." Right. So
they're very strict, especially if you're underage.
Yeah. So here's the danger of sticking your head, arms, or body out of the sunroof. There's a 18-year-old in Canada who was in a parking garage. I guess his 17-year-old buddy was driving. 18-year-old stood up out of the sunroof. Concrete beam in the parking garage.
Like one of the horizontal ones?
Yeah.
Well, that's his fucking fault.
He died.
I'm sorry, but you're stupid. Why would you do that in a parking garage? Like those ceilings are so low.
Yeah. I don't know. A Canadian teenager is dead after standing up through a car sunroof, cruising through a parking garage, accidentally slamming his body into a concrete beam.
And like, why are you doing that in a parking garage? There's nothing to see. Like you do that when you're cruising on the street, rolling down the beach or it's like somewhere cool. You stand up out the sunroof because there's like cool stuff to see and there's cool people to see you. Why are you doing it in a parking garage?
According to the cops, 17-year-old driver and a 15-year-old passenger weren't injured. Cops are still investigating for more details. I guess he was rushed to the hospital. He died from his injuries. I don't know what type of injuries, but if you get clotheslined.
And where was this again?
In a parking lot,
in
parking garage mall in Canada.
Oh, in Canada.
You get clotheslined by a concrete barrier, bro. You're not winning that fight.
I wonder how fast they were going.
Cops don't think speeding, drugs, or alcohol played a role in the fatal collision, but just,
I feel like they're just saying that because it's Canada. Like, we can't say they were high.
Oh, yeah, good point. Oh, can you imagine,
People will think badly of us.
hitting a concrete beam with your head and
One
body.
time, this kid in Salinas, him and his friend were like on a high-speed chase from the cops, and they were like driving down the street, and the kid in the passenger seat like sat out of the window because he was about to shoot at the cops.
Oh.
And the driver like turned a corner and hit a building, and the kid died because basically his body got like smacked into the building. And I went to his funeral after party. It was cracking.
Okay.
That shit was lit.
You know what you could do? You could just tell your stories, but not say where they're from. And I'll be like, yeah, that was Salinas, wasn't it? You'll be like, yeah. Like, you could just tell a story like that. Like, oh, my buddy was running from the cops. He leaned out the window to shoot at the police officers. He died, but his funeral after party was lit. And you could say, like, where was that? And I'll be like, that was in Salinas. You'll be like, yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know what was funny? It was like, I don't even think I knew the guy.
You just wanted to go for the party?
And I don't know why I was at his funeral after party.
Huh.
I think I was with people who knew him, but like I didn't know him. And you know what is even funnier? I don't even remember this. This was a story that was told to me.
That you went?
From my sister, yeah.
You forgot that you went and you had to be reminded of it?
I still don't remember. Sounds like me, though.
That sounds like you.
But I don't remember going. I think it was during my blackout years.
What's that? Like you were just drinking and partying too much?
Yes.
Huh.
Like I have a lot of, like from when I was 16 to when I was about 19, like I don't remember a lot of that time. That was also the time that like my parents split up.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, oh, I think that's just like repressed memories because you're going through a lot. And I don't feel like I was going through a lot. I feel like I just don't remember because I was drunk all the time. But I don't know. But who knows? Maybe it is like it was a traumatizing time for me or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
There's stuff that my friends will bring up or like my brother and sisters will bring up when we were young, and I had no recollection of it. Mm-hmm. And it's not, I mean, but I wasn't partying, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't traumatized.
I was.
I just kind of like don't pay attention. I just like live in the moment and like, all right, cool. And like, I just don't pay attention. So they go, yeah, you don't remember that one time that something? And they're telling me this story. I'm like, this is a great story. They're like, you were there. You don't remember like this happening and dad saying this or mom saying this or like, and I'm like, and like my fiance will do that all the time. She goes, hey, do you remember the da-da-da? I'm like, nah. She goes, you don't, what? And it's worse when you see a video or you see like an old photo. You're like, when was that? And they go, yeah, that was Christmas. Like, whoa, I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it's weird because I remember a lot of like really random stuff from being small.
Yeah.
Like I remember the most random things that happened or what someone said or just like random stuff. So for me to not remember 3 years of my life
or a funeral after party
that I went to, like, yeah, I don't know.
Huh.
But like, it's weird. I mean, I guess it makes sense that it was, if you want to call it a traumatizing time in my life or whatever. Like, if that's what you want to call it, I don't feel like that period of my life was traumatizing. Like I'm not like PTSD from my parents breaking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. That just sounds very dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, oh, your brain's repressing those memories because we're so traumatized. I'm like, that sounds like a little much.
I was young. My brain wasn't formed yet.
I was just drunk a lot of the time.
Could be. And I like to say it's that I live in the moment, but people tell me I just don't pay attention.
I live in the moment.
There we go. I was living in the moment.
For 3 years.
You've never been on a cruise ship. We've talked about that, right?
No.
Do you see all these like news stories?
I've been on a whale watching ship, not a cruise ship.
You see all these news stories, or like there's even I forget what channel it's on. There's like a series called like Cruise Ship Killers or something like that. Like all the crime that goes on cruise ships, and because you're kind of in international water, like you fall underneath a different set of rules. Like, have you heard all this? So cruise ships are wild.
That's why people do crimes on cruise ships.
It's easy to get away with. And like the thing is, and I watch a bunch of like cruise ship TikToks. Well, you watch one and they just start filling up your timeline. And there are people like, oh yeah, well so-and-so was missing and we looked around for a little while and then we just kept going because, you know, the boat's got places to go. They'll try to send someone back, but like pretty much like the cruise ship can be like, oh yeah, they jumped off. We don't have to look for them. Or, you know what I mean? Like it's wild out there. So anyway, there's this dude named...
Oh, is it that one boy?
Who, Kevin McGrath. So he was on the Carnival cruise ship. I guess he went from Florida to the Bahamas and back. He was on probation at the time, so he wasn't supposed to go, but I guess he was celebrating his dad's 60th birthday, whatever. Mm-hmm. He disappeared.
Ooh.
He disappeared on this cruise ship, and they're like, that's weird because he was on probation. He wasn't supposed to go. Like he owed a bunch of money to somebody. He had court fees. So they're not sure if he killed himself, was killed, or is like trying to vanish
on
and like
on
the run. But that's
what I first thought of.
That is a great way to like hide or get on the run. Like cruise ships, like people fall off cruise ships all the time, and they'll never find anybody. Or I'm sure you could sneak off the cruise ship somehow if you wanted. They're like, I don't know, man, it's a big boat, big ocean, lots of people going in and out. He may be in the Bahamas, I don't know. But this guy is now missing. Although his key card was used to enter his room at 3:30 in the morning, and then his family said they were going to meet for breakfast, but he didn't show up, and then he was reported missing when everybody got off. I think they probably like put him in a suitcase and like walked him off.
The family's in on it.
The family's in on it, right? Don't you think?
Yeah.
Like,
they know. They helped him.
It's a great way to go missing.
That probably was the whole point of that birthday party.
Cruise, yeah. You guys got to hide me. If I don't get off in the Bahamas when we come back to Florida, I need to like hop in your duffel bag real quick. You walk me off.
Families are down to do stuff like that.
But yeah, I think we talked about it on a previous podcast, cruise ship killers. It's nuts.
It's on Netflix?
I think it's on like True TV. It's on something. I can't remember when I saw it, but I binged like 2 or 3 hours of it. I'm like, all right, that's enough. I want to go on a cruise ship again. I can't have this like tainting my memory. Anyway, I got 2 more dark things. I think I'm only do one. Do you have any like non-dark stories?
Non-dark stories. I haven't had much going on.
If not,
I don't know. I've only had car shit going on, but
yeah, you have.
But
all right, what about this then? I'll give you one. You could choose. A body part was found or a prisoner was on the run. Which one do you want?
A prisoner on the run, is that like old-timey?
No, these are both recent
like
stories.
New? Okay, body part.
Okay. So there was a human leg that was found, quote unquote, protruding from a dumpster in Queens, New York.
Normal Queens activity.
So the NYPD was called to the TD Bank in Hillcrest around 6:30 p.m. after a witness discovered the mutilated remains. The leg was sticking out from a giant red container in the bank's parking lot. Investigators were checking to see if there were surveillance cameras in the area that would catch anyone dumping the remains into the dumpster. The body part, again, it's just the leg. The body part will be handed over to the medical examiner's office. Few details surrounding the gruesome discovery are available, including the gender of the victim and the extent of their bodily trauma. But somebody just had a leg and they had to get rid of it. And they said, all right, dumpster.
Yeah,
Dumpster
where's
behind
the
the bank.
rest of it?
I don't know. That's gross.
I saw this movie. So that just reminded me of this movie that I saw called The Voyeurs.
Okay.
With Sydney Sweeney in it.
Okay.
And that's the only reason why I wanted the movie. Like the description didn't sound that interesting, but I fuck with Sydney Sweeney, so I was like, I'll watch it.
Was this before or after Euphoria? Was this before she was after Euphoria or after?
The movie came out either this year or last year. It wasn't too old. So
she already had her Euphoria
after.
fame. Got it.
Do you want me to tell you about the movie, or are you going to watch it?
I'm scaling back not only the amount of things I watch on TV, but amount of things I watch on my phone. Okay. I'll tell you about that in a bit.
So it is about this couple who moves into this apartment, and in the buildings is like big windows.
Okay.
So they discover that they can see their neighbors across the way.
Hell yeah.
Like into their apartment. So they noticed that they were like in there banging, and they're like, oh my God, we can see them. So they're like watching them have sex. And then they're like, all right, this is weird. This is wrong. We shouldn't do this. But then they can't stop.
Sure.
Like they're just watching them. The guy in the other apartment that they're spying on is like a photographer that works out of his home. So he's like, there's constantly girls going in and out of the apartment, and they're watching him bang every single one of these models, right? So they're like, oh man, that's fucked up. Like his wife or girlfriend, they didn't know who she was at the time. Like she lives there and she doesn't know that he's cheating on her. They're like, dang, that's crazy. So the girl, Sydney Sweeney, she's at work one day, and the neighbor from across the way comes into, she's like a eye doctor, ophthalmologist or something, comes into the shop, and she's like, oh, I need new glasses. And Sydney Sweeney's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take you. Her glasses broke because her and her man got in a fight over like him hooking up with another girl or whatever, and he like hit her, and glasses broke off her face. So Sydney Sweeney her and her boyfriend had saw all of this happen. So when the girl walks in, she's like shaking up, like, oh, I know you guys are fighting. I know he hits you. Yeah. Like, I know he's cheating on you, but like, you don't know that I know that.
Sure.
For like, I'm a stranger, so whatever. So they end up becoming friends, and she's telling her boyfriend, she's like, I just feel like I have to tell her, like, if someone was cheating on me, like, if I was cheating on you, wouldn't you want someone to tell you? Like, it's wrong to just act like I don't know anything and keep hanging out with this girl.
Yeah.
So she connects her computer to their printer via Bluetooth and like types a note. And it's like, all it says is your husband.
This is giving Jersey Shore.
all it says is your husband's cheating on you. And she like reads the note, and then she's like freaking out, and she's like, what the fuck? Like, who sent this? She throws the note away. So Sydney types another one over, and it says there's a used condom in the trash can, like in the bathroom. So she like sees the note. She goes and checks the trash can, and she's like devastated, like, oh my God, he is cheating on me. Like, all the times I've confronted him, and he's gaslighting me.
Right.
Like, oh, also, by the way, they figured out how to point like a laser into their apartment and reflect it back into their own apartment to like catch sound waves. I wasn't really paying attention when he was explaining how he could do this part, but essentially so that they could listen to the conversations they were having in their apartment. So she types these notes, and she grabs a knife, and they think that she's going to kill her husband,
right?
Because he's cheating on her. And then she stops, and they're like, okay, she's not going to do it. So they go to bed. They wake up in the morning, and they look over in the apartment. The girl's dead. She killed herself. The wife killed herself.
And it's Sydney Sweeney's fault.
Yes. So her boyfriend, Sydney Sweeney's boyfriend, is like, her life is on you. Like, that woman killed herself because you just couldn't stay the fuck out of it. And I told you to stop spying on them, and I told you to stop meddling, and you wouldn't listen, and now she's dead. So they get into a huge fight. Sydney's crying.
Is Sydney Sweeney's fault, though.
Sydney's
Hell
crying.
of her fault.
Her boyfriend is like, I'm done. We're done. Packs a bag and leaves.
Oh.
Like, leaves her because they had already gotten into a fight the night before over the same thing. Like, you need to stop meddling and leave them alone. And she didn't. She wouldn't listen. So he leaves. The wife is dead. The photographer man starts like spiraling. He's just like drinking all the time.
Yeah.
Sydney's still watching him. She watches him go into a bar like downstairs. So she gets dressed. She goes into the bar, and they meet, and they start talking. And he's like, hey, do you mind if I take some photos of you? Like, okay, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, right?
And so she's like, okay. So she goes to his apartment. He's taking pictures of her, and he like does this thing where he's like, hey, take your shirt off. Like trying to be super casual. Like, what kind of bra do you have on? Like, just let me take some shots. Like, if it looks nice, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then the girls are always like, no. And he's like, I'll make it less awkward. And then he gets naked. Yeah. So then the girls get naked.
Oh, photographers are creepy.
So Sydney Sweeney and this photographer guy end up banging on
even
his couch.
Even though she knows the whole history about him.
Yes.
Okay.
So because I think she also had some sort of infatuation, like attraction to him.
Okay.
So they ended up banging, and Sydney Sweeney's boyfriend comes over to apologize.
Shut up.
To apologize. He brings flowers, and he sees them banging from his window. Like, he gets the binoculars that they've been using to spy, and he like looks through them, and he's like, oh shit, that's her. So he's just like starts crying. The next day, or in the next morning, Sydney Sweeney walks back to her apartment. Her boyfriend is hanging in it.
Shut up.
He killed himself. So she's devastated now.
Damn, it's a good movie. You should have just been like, yo, you got to watch this movie.
But you just said you weren't going to watch it.
All right, go ahead.
You still should, though, because I'm leaving a lot out. Actually, I can stop right here if you want, because there's a big plot twist.
No, go ahead. Give it to me.
Sydney Sweeney's hanging. She's devastated. Funeral happens. Whatever. Her and one of her friends goes out for drinks, and she's talking to her about it. And she's like, I'm an awful person. Like, this is all my fault. And the friend's like, no, like, there's no way you could have known that this was going to happen. And then Sydney Sweeney's like, is it bad that, like, I kind of want to go see the photographer guy again? And she was like, well, where is he? And she's like, oh, he has like a show tonight for his pictures or whatever. So they go to this guy's show, and there's like a big crowd of people there, and he gets on stage and he's like, I've been working on this project for a really long time. Me and my partner, so-and-so, like my wife.
I'm going to write my prediction. I think I know what this is. Go ahead.
He's like, we've been working on it for a really long time, and, I've been going through a lot and blah, 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 blah. Do you want to say your prediction?
No, I'm just going to write it down.
Okay. And then he's like, everyone, like show some love to my wife. And she walks out onto the stage, and Sydney Sweeney's like, what the fuck? Like, bitch, I thought you were dead.
Yeah.
Like, well, how are you standing here? And they both get on stage, and they're like, yes, this project has been in the works for a long time. It's a story about a young couple that moves in from across, the way or whatever. And they start like pulling curtains down, and there's all these big giant like posters, bigger than poster, like the size of like the soundboards in here, like huge photos of Sydney and her man moving into this apartment.
Pics of Sweeney or boyfriend.
It's pictures that they have of them like when they moved into the apartment. Pictures of them with the binoculars, like when they first discovered they could see the neighbors.
Yeah.
So they basically were like, it's a story of, this young couple who thought that, they were watching us, but the whole time we were watching them watch us. So Sydney she gets pissed, right? She starts going crazy. She goes to the neighbor's house, and she's like looking for the room, like, where are these cameras? How do they have pictures of us in our window? Blah, blah, blah. And she ruins she finds like this hidden door with like a hidden room where they had all the cameras and computers, breaks all that shit, goes back to her house. Like, what's the next step? She's got to move out now, right?
Yeah.
She's got to go. So
but her boyfriend's really dead though.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He's really dead for real.
Was there a photo of him?
Yes.
I thought there.
Yes, there's a picture of him also like hanging. So she's packing up, moving out. She goes outside to get this her bird feeder. Okay. And there's a bunch of like liquid in it or whatever. It's like this weird drink that her boyfriend used to drink. Some weird shit that you would probably drink or whatever. Okay. That he poured in there the night that he came home to apologize. He like took a drink and was like, oh, this must have gone bad. Like, this tastes like shit. And he gave it to the birds. So she pulls a bird feeder inside, and she like looks down. She sees all these dead birds on the like balcony. And so she's like, weird. She starts putting pieces together. Long story short, the wife neighbor, poisoned the drink to kill her boyfriend to keep the storyline going of what they were working on. And Sydney Sweeney like discovered this, that she poisons the drink. Like, he didn't hang himself, he was poisoned
and then framed and hang.
Yeah, and then she hung him up in the apartment while they were across the way banging. Like, this was all planned. This was all planned, that the guy brings Sydney Sweeney home, the guy keep her there. Like, I don't know how they knew the boyfriend was like, then again, it's just a movie. Like, how could you know he was just so happened was going to come home? But yeah, it was all planned. Sydney Sweeney is stalking them, and they end up chasing her. Like, they see her on top of a building with like the binoculars. She's still looking into their building. She's sending messages to their printer still. Like, I know what you did. I know what you did. And they're like, oh, we got to, like, this bitch is crazy now. Yeah. So they start chasing her. She runs to her like ophthalmologist, like her eye doctor office or whatever. And they chase her in there, and at first she's like, I just tell me the truth. Like, and then I'm leaving. I'll go away. You'll never see me again. They still don't admit to the truth, kind of.
The photographer and his wifey.
Yeah, but then the wife starts being like, oh, I don't feel good. And then Sydney Sweeney was like, oh, yeah, that bottle of wine that you guys were drinking wasn't from like a fan. It was from me. So she sent a poisoned bottle of wine to their apartment.
There you go.
That was supposed to be like a congratulations on your new project. Like it was great. They pass out. Sydney Sweeney puts them on these like gurneys and rolls them into like some operation room. And remember my eye surgery, how they put like the clamps in the eye and then a big laser over it. She does that to them. Like burns their eyes. And then the next scene is a new couple moving into that apartment, and they look across the way and they're like, oh, look at those neighbors. I wonder what they're doing. And it's the husband and the wife, the photographer and the wife. And they're just like standing there kind of like moving really, really slow. And then they turn and they look out the window and they're blind. She blinded them.
That's crazy.
And then the movie ends.
That's nuts. Wow.
Anyways, it's called The Voyeurs.
I wrote down watching them watch us. That's the name of the podcast today, I think. Holy crap. All right.
Such a good movie.
Damn, that is good. Okay, let's wrap up the podcast. Next time, I will tell you about why we'll talk about The Prisoner, and then why
that wasn't as dark as your stories, but it's pretty fucked up.
Yours is pretty dark, and then I'll tell you why I'm like off of TV and social kind of. Okay, cool. On Instagram, at Strawberry and Lizette.
I'm at Lizette Love, LizetteLovee. I also watch Cocaine Bear. It's trash. Don't watch it.
I'm at Strawberry Radio. Thank you for subscribing and listening and watching on our YouTube. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Peace.